been 6 months since Hurricane Helene, and when you visit some of the hardest hit communities, you'll notice the progress towards recovery, but our neighbors are still in need of help. Our Casey Willis and Ted Hall live in Newport with us this afternoon. A closer look at the road ahead, guys.
Yeah, Brittany, it's hard to believe it's been 6 months. So tomorrow is the actual anniversary to where the floods started. But today was when Helene made her way through the Carolinas and into East Tennessee, swelling the rivers and lakes around here, which caused the flooding.
Casey and I have both been here off and on quite a bit over the last 6 months. Casey was one of the first people here on the scene when the flooding was at its worst and when our coverage was at its peak. And now here we are 6 months later, and there are so many signs of progress. And that's kind of what we want to focus on, at least to a degree, is how much hope there is and how many people have improved their situations, but there's still so much more that needs to be done. I spent the day in Hartford, which is the rafting community. Still one small cafe open. The Moonshine Distillery is open, and that's it so far. There are some rafting people that want to get going, and then also here in Newport, but we're also going to talk about Del Rio and more, but there's still so much more that needs to be done.
Absolutely, and here in Newport, you're seeing signs of improvement as these businesses are starting to reopen, but you go out into the counties, and that's where you see some of these homes and businesses, in some cases, that aren't able to rebuild, and that may look different here moving forward.
Let's talk about some of the progress that is being made. Some of the money, that was always one of the biggest questions. What about the money from the government? How much is being given out? Right now, FEMA is telling us that they are helping as many people as they can repair their homes. As of Monday, the agency says it's verified 15,000 registrations into the individual housing program in 8 counties, more than 2,500 of them in Cobb County. The agency says it's delivered 10 private and commercial housing units so far, sent more than $5 million from its housing program to the flood survivors in Cobb County. That's just part of the more than $30.5 million across East Tennessee. So a lot of people are saying, okay, where's the money? That's what FEMA is telling us right now. They are getting that money out there. They're getting that money out there, and they're handing it out to people as quickly as they can.
Well, you know, the community has really stepped in. You hear so many people here who say, hey, we are not going to wait for help. We're going to do it ourselves. And so many people, including donations that have poured in within a day, water, canned food, even portable showers came in.
Dolly Parton, of course, made a stop in Newport to announce that $1 million donation to the Mountain Ways Foundation. Her partner businesses also matching the donation. A lot of groups coming in, and we're still hearing about these groups coming in to donate items, campers, to fix homes. There's the woman Janet Sands who caught my attention the first day I was here. Her home was nothing but a pile of rubble, and it was the worst sight that I saw initially. So I've been following her for a while. Well, there was a group from out of state that came in and built her a new house. It's on stilts. It is ready. I got to see it again today. And so there are a lot of signs of good stuff, but there's still so much that needs to be done.
Well, when you talk about rebuilding, and there's so many staples here in Cobb County that the locals know and love, like the Barbarossa Saloon and the campground there, that was pretty much completely wiped out. Now we're hearing that they're going to be open again come April. Now they also are having to rebuild their entire campground in the landscape. They're right along the river there on the way out to Cobb County, some of the more rural parts. And that family-owned business, they weren't sure if they were going to be able to rebuild, and now we're getting the good news that they will be back open in April. And then we also want to talk about Del Rio. That was another area that was hit very hard, and our Jared Austin went out there.
Yeah. The church just wiped out, homes wiped out. Del Rio is a very beautiful small town right along the river, and the river rose so high there. It was amazing to see how high the river could rise when you go and see it afterwards. But they're still making progress. But again, just like we're seeing today, there's a family that we've been following for several months here who need their house completely redone. Well, it's being redone, but it is such a slow process for them.
Well, because they also have to wait for things like permits and inspections, and think about rebuilding. Think about when you build a home and then you have dozens of them happening in the same county, and it's taking a while to get some of those permits, even get some of the construction out there to kind of help get it going.
And one of the big questions is, should people be allowed to build right there where their house got washed away in a flood? That is really one of the main contributing factors to how slow the progress is for some of this. But again, so much is being done. early on, I did a story on one of my buddies, actually, a guy named Travis Hall, who drives from Knoxville. He's a hairstylist there. He goes to Hot Springs, North Carolina, every Sunday. He doesn't do it every week now, but every Sunday he did, and he gave free haircuts for people just so they could feel a little bit normal. He's still doing it. He's doing it like 3 times every couple of months now, so about every 6 weeks. He says still doing it for free, but people are donating, and they're giving it to the Rebuild Hot Springs.
That's
Fund,
amazing.
when people pay. So there are a lot of stories that we've been following for 6 months now, and many of them are really seeing the light at the end of the tunnel.
Absolutely. And we're going to talk to some of those people and some of those city officials, too, who are also working hard to make sure that these communities are getting back to normal. That includes Greene County, Unicoi counties, the other counties affected here, too, not just Cocke County. So we're going to have much more for you here coming up on WVLT News, but we do want to send it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, guys, thank you. Showcasing the strength, again, of the East Tennesseans. Appreciate you. We'll see you in just a bit. Let's get to our First Alert forecast. First Alert meteorologist